Hello and welcome to another SkaredCast tactical series. Today we look at video 19 of the series, talking about the Scourge and their role in use in the new Dark Eldar codex. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to another SkaredCast tactical video. Today we're looking at the new Dark Eldar codex. This is video 19 of a full tactical and strategy series on the new book. And today's topic are the Scourge. It's a fast attack choice in the new codex. Of course, we will split up this video in two sections. The first aimed towards newer Archons and players, and we'll know what Scourges are. The second, dividing the tactical nuances of the Scourge within building a list. Scourges. The winged mercenaries known as Scourges are masters of the Dark City's skies. Their deadly flocks soar silently between the jagged minarets and towering pinnacles of their domain. Flame-racked clouds swirling in their wake, hopelessly enamored of their own avian lethality. The Scourges relish the gory feasts of full-scale war. Yet they prefer to engage the foe from afar, for they are vain and protective of their expensive altered bodies. Scourges, therefore, arm themselves with the finest in lightweight but powerful weaponry. The workshops of the Undercore provide these. These they use to lay down a punishing salvo firepower. They drink in the screams of their enemies with sharpened senses before redeploying and striking again. So Scourge are, as per the fluff, a ranged unit. They fly, and they have like the gear that money can buy for the Dark City. So the basic unit is 5 Scourge at 80 points. Which comes to 16 points apiece. They are very, very well priced for what you get. So let's look at their statistics. They have a weapon skill and ballistic skill of 4, like Dark Eldar do normally have. They have a strength and toughness of 3, like is normal for any humanoid style creature in the 40k universe. They have 1 wound and initiative 5, so a high initiative like Dark Eldar. And they have 1 attack and leadership 8. Whereas the Solarite, or squad leader, has +1 attack, +1 leadership. Now, they do have a 4+ save. So, barring Incubi and barring Witches in close combat, they have the best armor save in the book. So, that's pretty cool. That isn't like an invulnerable save, because the Shadowfield's definitely the best one. They are jump infantry, and what makes them interesting is their war gear and their ability to really fine-tune their role within the Dark Eldar Codex. So, they are armed with Ghost Plate armor, which is the 4+ armor save, but it also provides a 6+ invulnerable save. I cannot tell you how many times that 6+ invulnerable save has saved my Scourge from Vindicator blasts, from ignoring cover weaponry, and even if it's only 1 Scourge that survives, it's really frustrating for your opponent, for one. And secondly, it means that they have that added protection. And with power from pain, they have the invulnerable save or their high armor save, and then the feel no pain save. So it makes them quite survivable, more so than you might think. They are armed with a Shard Carbine, which is an 18-inch range, assault 3, poison 4+, AP 5 weapon. So it's basically a shorter ranged assault 3 splinter rifle. which means one guy shoots as much as 3 Cavalite warriors at 18 inches. That's pretty cool. Considering they have jump infantry, they can move 12 inches and shoot 18, so it gives them an effective range of 30 inches. Which is pretty cool for a 3-shot gun. And they can shoot and then charge if they really wanted to. They do come equipped with a close combat weapon. Not really useful, but they have a little sword or knife or something. Hooray. And they are armed with plasma grenades. One of the few units in the book or models that can have plasma grenades. They just have them built right in. Meaning that even though they're designed as a shooter unit, they can charge in and won't lose their benefit, their initiative bonus. They won't suffer the initiative penalty when charging through terrain. It also gives them the shooting weapon, you know, the grenade. Small blast, strength 4, AP 4 at 8 inches. And one model in the unit can choose to do this. This can be handy if you've chosen to give your squad leader some of the close combat options available in the entry. So from what we see, they do have a couple of the basic Dark Eldar special rules. They are fleet, like most Dark Eldar are. They have night vision, which is good in night fighting missions, and they benefit from power from pain. So from looking at the unit, it's quite versatile, but the key is in the upgrades, and that really determines how you as an Archon will be using the Scourge. So you can include up to 5 additional Scourges, making the unit from 5 to 10 strong, and up to 4 Scourge can take items from the special weapon list and or the heavy weapons list in the Dark Eldar War Gear section. Which means you don't have to take all 10 in order to buy heavy and special weapons. You can have 5 models with 4 heavy or special weapons. So the available weapons are, for special weapons they can take a shredder or a blaster. Cool, it's not bad. For heavy weapons they can take a haywire blaster, a heat lance, which is exclusive to them, a splinter cannon, or a dark lance. I would shy away from the dark lance just right off the bat, because the dark lance is a heavy weapon, and if they move they will be only snap shooting it. But in a pinch, if you really needed extra dark lances, I guess you could take a big unit with dark lances. But that's not what I would do. One model can be upgraded to a Solarite, and if you upgrade to a Solarite, then the Solarite can take up to 4 different options. They can take a splinter pistol, they can, instead of the shard carbine, don't know why you'd want to do that. They can take a splinter pistol and a venom blade, one of the few models that can take a venom blade. They can take a splinter pistol and power lance, one of the only models that can take a power lance. Or they can take a splinter pistol and an agonizer for cheaper than what other models can take agonizers for. It's just like 10 points cheaper than any other model. And the Solarite can take a blast pistol if they so wish, which is of course strength 8, AP 2, 6-inch range for the blast pistol, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so you can make them an anti-infantry unit, you can make them a anti-tank unit, or you can have a mix of both. I'd highly recommend you don't mix their role. Keep them as one thing or another. So now that we know what Scourges are, let's talk a little bit about their tactical use. Scourge, personally, I prefer them as dedicated anti-tank hunting. Now, my weapon of choice is the haywire blaster, because in the new edition of the rules, putting hull points on vehicles is more important than blowing them up. It will create you being able to kill them in a war of attrition. So, at the moment, I've only really been using 5 Scourge with 2 haywire blasters, and what I've been focusing them on is shooting my lances and blasters at a tank, and then leaving it with 1 or 2 hull points, and then shooting my Scourge at that unit to try and finish it off by putting the last hull points. Why? Haywire blasters are very reliable at putting hull points on. You hit, And then on 2+, it's a hull point. And if you roll a 6, it's a pen, and if you roll a 1, nothing happens. Yes, you roll 1 sometimes. Yes, you actually penetrate sometimes to do some additional damage, like blowing a gun off or whatnot. But most of the time, it'll just be to strip hull points. One of my favorite things, I will be doing this, is giving 5 Scourge 4 Haywire Blasters. And I would be running at least 2 units in any sort of army list, 1500 points and above, with that loadout. Reason being, they give you great anti-tank capability, especially against things like Wave Serpents, Predators, Chimeras, things that are armor 12 or, around that, armor value anyway, where your lance, the benefits of your lances aren't as keenly felt when facing off against the enemy. So one of the biggest disadvantages of that is the unit of Scourge is really small, so any sort of damage at all will really render the Scourge unit ineffective. So what you can do is buy a couple of Scourge as wounds, to take 5 Scourge, you give them 4 Haywire Blasters, and then buy 3 more Scourge, or 3 more Scourge, so have a unit of 8. Like that, you have 4 Scourge that can die, and then 4 that are tanking wounds. The unit is very inexpensive, and you can even do things like 4 Heat Lances, which are the Melter Lance weapon that the Reaver jet bikes can take as well, and then deep strike them near the enemy to really just blow up a key target, like an Imperial Knight or a Baneblade or something nasty that you really need to put a lot of damage on. But of course that would require the use of, say, a webway portal, or require the use of like some lucky scattering in order to get the unit to where you need it to go. Another reason I prefer the Haywire Blaster for anti-tank purposes over the Heat Lance is because of its longer range. 24 inches plus the 12-inch range gives you a 36-inch threat bubble, and you can deploy the Scourge out of line of sight and then jump them over something or a wall, or jump them out of a building in order to focus fire on that one target. Now the key to do this is to make sure that when you do it, you jump your Scourge from a line of sight blocking piece over to one side that still blocks line of sight to most of the enemy army, except for the target that you've picked, so that you can eliminate the target while minimizing the amount of damage at the Scourge. Now that's one way you can use them. A second way is make sure that you're putting so much pressure on the enemy army, throwing grotesques, racks, witches, beast pack, Archon and Incubi, whatever it is that you have, to put pressure on your opponent so that your Scourge stay relatively unscathed in the backfield, providing the supporting firepower to take out key targets. And your opponent will have a dilemma: either shoot at the Scourge or kill the grotesques that are coming at you and will rip you up in close combat. So that's a sort of tactical nuance that you have to keep in mind when using a fragile unit that can put out a lot of damage like Scourge. Now, given they do soak up firepower better than, say, your Cabalite warriors, don't think that they're as tough as a Terminator or a Space Marine. They are not, and they will die very quickly if you're not careful. Another way to use them would just be to be in a pure anti-infantry role. Because of their higher movement, they can take advantage of the salvo penalty that the Splinter Cannon suffers from when moving. But, even just taking 10 Scourge, 160 points, all with Shard Carbines, can be a cool and interesting tactic. Deep strike them in, or just go infantry hunting with them, because they're a little bit more expensive than 2 Venoms, and 10 Scourge will have almost 1/3 more the amount for just a little bit more of the price, and a lot more wounds instead of hull points, so they'd be a lot more survivable over time if you're looking at it mathematically. Now I'm curious as to how everybody has been using Scourge, so make sure you leave a comment down below to let us know what has been working for you, because we know we can theorize about this sort of stuff all day long, but it's really only battlefield practice that really shows what works and what doesn't within your local gaming area. So please share it with the community. As always, this is the 19th video of a full tactical series, so check out the tactical video playlist with all the different Dark Eldar tactical videos, and share it, like it, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think, so it helps me create more better content for you who are playing 40k out there. Thanks all for watching. This is Skara, your grateful host, and I'll see you next time on the next tactical video.